Broken waitress gets pregnant with a stranger's twins the next morning. She finds out he's a mafia boss. Subscribe this channel or this might be our last meeting. The rain fell like bullets. Isabella walked through the storm, tears mixing with the cold water on her face. She couldn't tell where the rain ended and her pain began. Get out. I don't want you here anymore. Her stepmother's voice still echoed in her head. Sharp, cold, final. 3 boyfriends, 3 failures. Each one left her for the same reason. She wanted too much. A home, a family, a baby to call her own. You're suffocating me, Isabella. I can't give you what you want. You're too needy. The words burned worse than the icy wind cutting through her thin jacket. Isabella stopped walking. She stood in the middle of the empty street, rain pouring down. The streetlights flickered like dying stars. Maybe I should just stop. Stop trying, stop hoping, stop existing. Her hand trembled as she looked at the dark water rushing through the gutters. One step, that's all it would take. But then she saw him, a man, sitting on a bench under a streetlight. No jacket, no umbrella, nothing. Just sitting there, still as a statue. The snow began to mix with the rain now, sharp, freezing. The wind howled like a wounded animal, but he didn't move. Isabella's feet carried her closer. She didn't know why. The light fell across his face. 30 years old, maybe. Impossibly handsome. Dark hair soaked through. Sharp jawline. Eyes that looked empty, hollow, like he'd seen things no one should see. Are you okay? Isabella's voice cracked. He looked up slowly. His eyes met hers. Dark, dangerous, dead inside. Why do you care? His voice was low, rough, like gravel and smoke. Isabella wrapped her arms around herself. You'll freeze to death out here. Maybe that's the point. Something in his tone made her heart skip. He wasn't joking. An idea sparked in her mind. Crazy, desperate, perfect. I can't have a home, but I can have a baby. His baby? A stranger's baby. Someone who'll never claim it. Never find me. Isabella took a breath. Come home with me, tonight. The stranger's eyes narrowed. What? You heard me. Come home with me. Why? Because. Isabella looked at him, really looked at him, lost, broken, alone, just like her. Because we both need something tonight. And maybe we can help each other. A long silence. The rain poured harder. You don't know me, he said quietly. I don't need to. He stood up slowly. Tall, dangerous. Something predatory in the way he moved. You sure about this? No, Isabella whispered. But I'm doing it anyway. Her apartment was small, cold, empty. Just like her life. Isabella's hands shook as she unlocked the door. What was she doing? Taking a stranger home. A man she didn't know, didn't trust. But she needed this. One night, one chance. One baby. Her baby, only hers. The stranger followed her inside. Water dripped from his clothes onto the floor. He looked around at the bare walls, the cheap furniture, the nothingness of her existence. Not much, is it? Isabella said bitterly. It's more than some people have. Something in his voice made her look at him. Was that understanding? You want something to drink? She asked. No. Silence. Isabella felt her heart racing. This was it. The moment that would change everything. I need to tell you something, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm not looking for anything. No relationship. No promises. Just tonight. The stranger stepped closer. Why? That's none of your business. You're making it my business. Isabella looked away. I want someone to be with me tonight because my boyfriend, he cheated on me. His eyes flickered with something. Surprise. Recognition. And you think I am a toy? He asked. I think you're a stranger I'll never see again. A dark smile crossed his face. You might be right. The night passed in a blur. Isabella closed her eyes and let herself feel. Let herself forget. Forget the pain, the loneliness, the emptiness. For one night, she wasn't alone. For one night, she had purpose. When she opened her eyes, morning light streamed through the window. She reached across the bed, empty. He was gone. Isabella sat up, her heart sinking. Of course he left. That was the plan, wasn't it? She wrapped the blanket around herself and walked to the window. The storm had passed. The streets were quiet, clean, like last night never happened. But it did happen. And maybe, just maybe, she'd gotten what she wanted. 2 hours later, Isabella walked to the corner store. She needed coffee, food, something normal. She grabbed a newspaper from the stand and froze. The front page, a photograph. Him, the stranger from last night. Bold letters screamed above the image. Italian Mafia boss Damian Carter escapes maximum security prison. Entire city on high alert. Dangerous, armed, do not approach. Isabella's hands went numb. The newspaper slipped through her fingers. No, 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 no. That couldn't be him. It couldn't be, but it was. Same face, same dark eyes, same dangerous presence. Damian Carter, the most feared mafia boss in New York. A killer, a criminal, a monster. And she'd spent the night with him. Oh my God, Isabella whispered. Her legs felt weak. What have I done? She looked at the newspaper again, at his face. I might be carrying a mafia boss's baby. The thought made her sick. But then another thought came. Quieter, darker. So what? He doesn't know who I am, where I live. He'll never find me. The baby will still be mine. Only mine. Isabella picked up the newspaper and threw it in the trash. I don't care, she whispered to herself. I don't care who he is. I got what I wanted. That's all that matters. She walked away from the store, her head held high. But deep down, somewhere in her chest, a feeling stirred. Fear. And something else. Something she couldn't name. Something that felt like the beginning of the end. Or maybe, the beginning of everything. 15 days passed like a nightmare. Isabella went to work at the restaurant every day. Smiled at customers, took orders, pretended everything was normal. But nothing was normal. Someone was watching her. She felt it in her bones. In the prickle at the back of her neck. In the shadow that always seemed to follow her home. Table 6 needs refills. Her manager barked. Yes, sir. Isabella grabbed the coffee pot, her hands trembling slightly. She walked between tables, pouring coffee, forcing smiles. But the feeling wouldn't leave. Eyes, always eyes. She glanced at the window. A black car sat across the street, tinted windows, engine running. It had been there yesterday too. And the day before. Isabella's heart raced. She turned away quickly, nearly spilling the coffee. Careful, a voice snapped. She looked down. A wealthy man in an expensive suit sat at table 3, his white shirt, his designer watch, and coffee, hot, dark coffee, spreading across his lap. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Isabella grabbed napkins, her face flushing red. Sorry. The man stood up, furious. Do you know how much this suit costs? I'll pay for the cleaning. You'll pay with what? Your pathetic waitress salary. The restaurant went silent. Everyone stared. Isabella's manager stormed over. What the hell happened here? Your incompetent waitress just ruined a $5,000 suit. The manager's face turned purple. He looked at Isabella with disgust. You're fired. Get out now. But sir, please, I need this job. Out. Tears burned in Isabella's eyes. She ripped off her apron and threw it on the counter. The whole restaurant watched her walk to the door. Shame, humiliation, failure. Again. She pushed through the door into the cold afternoon air. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Why does everything I touch turn to ash? Isabella walked home, her vision blurred with tears. And there it was again. That feeling. She stopped and turned around quickly. Nothing, just empty street, parked cars, afternoon shadows. But she knew. Someone is following me. She walked faster. Her apartment building came into view. Safety. Almost there. Isabella fumbled with her keys, her hands shaking. The door clicked open. She slammed it shut behind her and locked it. Bolted it. Chain lock too. Then she collapsed against the door, breathing hard. You're losing your mind, she whispered to herself. Nobody's following you. Nobody cares about you. But the fear wouldn't leave. Days blurred together. Job applications. Rejections. More applications. More rejections. We'll call you. Sorry. Position filled. Lies. All lies. By the 10th day, Isabella was eating one meal a day. Crackers, cheap soup, whatever she could afford. By the 12th day, she couldn't pay rent. By the 15th day, her body betrayed her. Isabella was walking back from another failed interview when the world tilted. The sidewalk rushed up to meet her. Miss, are you okay? Voices distant, echoing. Then darkness, white ceiling, antiseptic smell, beeping machines. Hospital? Isabella blinked slowly, her head pounding. A nurse stood beside the bed, checking monitors. You're awake. Good, how do you feel? Dizzy, Isabella whispered. What happened? You fainted, malnutrition, dehydration. The nurse paused. When was the last time you ate properly? Isabella couldn't remember. The nurse pulled up a chair. Her expression softened. I need to tell you something. Isabella's heart stopped. What? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong. You're pregnant. The words hung in the air. Pregnant? Isabella's breath caught in her throat. About 6 weeks, we estimate. You'll need to take better care of yourself now. Eat properly. Rest, prenatal vitamins. Pregnant? With his baby? The Mafia boss's baby. Ice flooded Isabella's veins. Fear, pure, cold fear. But also, something else. Joy. A tiny, fragile joy blooming in her chest. I'm going to be a mother, she whispered. The nurse smiled. Yes. Congratulations. After the nurse left, Isabella sat in the hospital bed, one hand on her still flat stomach. A baby, my baby. Damian Carter's face flashed through her mind. Those dark, empty eyes. He'll never know. How could he? He doesn't know my name, where I live. This baby is mine. Only mine. Isabella smiled through her tears. I don't care who your father is, she whispered. You're mine, and I'll protect you always. The hospital released her 2 hours later. Isabella stepped outside into the late afternoon sun. The world looked different somehow. Brighter. Full of possibility. She was going to be a mother. Nothing else mattered. She started walking toward the bus stop, her hand still resting protectively on her stomach. Then she heard it. The purr of an expensive engine. A black car pulled up beside her. Sleek, shining, dangerous. The back door opened. Isabella's blood ran cold. A voice came from inside. Deep, familiar, terrifying. Get in. She froze. No. I wasn't asking. Isabella peered into the darkness of the car. She couldn't see his face, but she knew. She knew that voice. I said, get in, Isabella. Her name. He knew her name. How do you get in now? 2 men appeared from nowhere. Large, silent, threatening. They grabbed her arms. No, let me go. Help, Isabella struggled. But they were too strong. They pushed her into the car. The door slammed shut. Darkness. Then a voice. That voice. Coming from the shadows beside her. I don't want the mother of my child wandering the streets like a beggar. Isabella's heart stopped. She turned slowly, and there he was. Damian Carter. The stranger from that stormy night. The Mafia boss. The father of her baby. Sitting beside her in the darkness, his eyes fixed on her stomach. You thought I wouldn't find out, he said quietly. You thought you could hide from me. The car started moving. Isabella couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't scream. Where are you taking me? She whispered. Damian leaned back, his face half in shadow, half in the dying light coming through the window. Home, he said simply. And the word sounded like both a promise and a threat. The car stopped. Isabella's eyes fluttered open. When had she closed them? The door opened, flooding the dark interior with light. She looked out and her breath caught. A mansion, enormous, gothic, beautiful, and terrifying at once. Stone walls covered in ivy, iron gates, windows like dark, watching eyes. Welcome home, Damian said from beside her. This isn't my home. It is now. Strong hands pulled her from the car. Isabella stumbled, her legs weak. The world spun. I've got you. Damian's arm wrapped around her waist, steadying her. His touch burned through her clothes. Don't touch me, Isabella hissed, trying to pull away. You're about to faint again. Stop being stubborn. He was right. Her vision darkened at the edges. Her body felt like it was made of paper. I don't want to be here, she whispered. I know. He lifted her into his arms effortlessly. Isabella wanted to fight, to scream, to run, but darkness swallowed her whole. Silk sheets, soft pillows, the smell of expensive cologne. Isabella's eyes opened slowly. A bedroom, massive, elegant, a chandelier hung from the ceiling, casting golden light across cream-colored walls. She sat up quickly, too quickly. Her head spun. Easy. That voice? Isabella's head snapped to the left. Damien sat on a leather sofa across the room, legs crossed, cigar between his fingers, smoke curling upward like ghosts. He watched her with those dark, unreadable eyes. "How long have you been sitting there?" Isabella asked, her voice shaking. "Since you arrived." 3 hours. Watching me sleep. That's not creepy at all. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips, making sure you didn't stop breathing. Isabella wrapped the blanket tighter around herself. Shame burned through her chest. "I spent a night with this man. A stranger. A criminal. Why am I here?" she demanded. Damien took a slow drag from his cigar. "You know why? I don't want anything from you. But you took something from me." Silence. He reached beside the sofa and lifted a paper. Her hospital report. Her pregnancy test. Isabella's blood turned to ice. "How did you get that?" "I have my ways." "You've been following me, watching me. Like a stalker?" "Like a father," Damien corrected quietly. "Making sure my child's mother doesn't starve to death in the street." Isabella stood up, rage replacing fear. "That baby is mine. You have no right." "I have every right." His voice dropped to something dangerous. "That's my child you're carrying. You're a criminal, a murderer. You think I want my baby around that?" Damien's jaw tightened. He stood slowly, crushing the cigar in an ashtray. "You didn't seem concerned about that when you invited me to your bed." The words hit like a slap. "I didn't know who you were." "Would it have changed anything?" Isabella opened her mouth, closed it. She didn't know the answer. Damien walked toward her, each step deliberate, predatory. "You chose me that night, Isabella, stranger, criminal, monster. You chose me to father your child." He stopped inches away, so close she could feel the heat radiating from his body. "And now you're surprised when I choose to be a father." Isabella's hands clenched into fists. "I don't need you, but the baby does. The baby needs safety, stability, a normal life. You can't give that." "No." Damien's eyes flickered to her stomach. "I can give protection, money, a name. Everything you can't provide alone." The truth of his words cut deep. "I won't let you take my baby," Isabella whispered, tears burning her eyes. "Our baby." His hand moved toward her stomach, then stopped. "May I?" Isabella's breath hitched. She should say no, should push him away. But something in his eyes made her pause. Not cruelty, not possessiveness. Wonder. She nodded slightly. His hand pressed gently against her stomach. Large, rough, warm. "There's a life in there," he said softly. "Half you, half me. That makes us connected, Isabella. Whether you like it or not." A tear slipped down her cheek. "I won't let you control me. I don't want to control you." His eyes met hers. "I want to protect you. Both of you." "I don't believe you." "You don't have to believe me. But you do have to stay here." Isabella stepped back, breaking the contact. "You're keeping me prisoner. I'm keeping you safe." "That's the same thing." "No." Damien's voice turned hard. "A prisoner has no choice. You have one. Stay willingly, or stay unwillingly. But you stay. You can't do this." "I already have." Isabella looked around the room wildly. Windows locked. Door guarded. "This baby is mine," she said desperately. "You can't claim it. You can't." "This baby is mine too." Damien's voice cut through her panic. "I'm the father. That gives me rights." "Rights? You're a wanted criminal." "I'm still the father." Isabella's legs gave out. She sank onto the edge of the bed, her hands covering her face. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. "Why do you even care?" Damien was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because I never thought I'd have this chance." Isabella looked up at him through her tears. "What?" But he turned away, walking back to the sofa. "Rest," he said, his tone once again cold and distant. "The doctor will come tomorrow to check on you. And the baby." "Damien, that's not a request, Isabella. That's an order." He walked to the door. Wait. He paused, his hand on the doorknob. Am I really a prisoner here? Damien looked back at her. His face was half in shadow, half in light. That depends on you, he said quietly. Stop trying to run from me, and you'll see I'm not the monster you think I am. And if I keep trying to run, his eyes darkened, then I'll have no choice but to treat you like one. The door closed behind him with a soft click. Isabella sat alone in the beautiful room that felt like a cage. Her hand moved to her stomach. I'm sorry, she whispered to the life growing inside her. I'm so sorry. But sorry wouldn't change anything. She was trapped, with a mafia boss who claimed her baby as his own. And the terrifying part, a small, traitorous part of her wondered if maybe, just maybe, he meant what he said. That he wanted to protect them, not control them. Isabella lay back on the silk sheets and closed her eyes. But sleep wouldn't come, because somewhere in this mansion, Damien Carter sat alone too. And neither of them knew if this was the beginning of something beautiful, or the beginning of something that would destroy them both. Midnight. The mansion was silent, dark, sleeping. Isabella opened her eyes, her heart already racing. Now? It has to be now. She'd been planning this all evening, watching, listening, waiting for the guards to change shifts. She slipped out of bed, her bare feet silent on the cold marble floor. The window? She'd checked it earlier unlocked. Stupid. They didn't think I'd be crazy enough to climb down from the second floor. But desperation made people do crazy things. Isabella pushed the window open slowly. Cold night air rushed in, making her shiver. Below, the garden stretched out in shadows. Bushes, trees, a wall in the distance. Freedom. She climbed onto the windowsill, her heart thundering in her chest. For my baby? I'm doing this for my baby. Isabella grabbed the ivy growing up the mansion wall and began to climb down. Her hands shook, her arms burned. Don't look down, don't think. Just move. She was halfway down when a voice cut through the darkness. Going somewhere? Isabella's blood froze. She looked down. Damien stood below, arms crossed, face hidden in shadow. How did you? Motion sensors? Cameras? Did you really think I wouldn't know? Isabella's grip on the ivy tightened. Stay away from me. Come down, Isabella. No, you're going to fall. Come down now. I'd rather fall than stay here. Damien's voice dropped to something deadly. And kill our baby in the process. The words struck like lightning. Isabella's hands trembled. Tears burned her eyes. I hate you, she whispered. I know. Now come down before you hurt yourself. She had no choice. Isabella climbed down slowly, her body shaking. When her feet touched the ground, Damien was there. His hand closed around her arm. Firm, unbreakable. Let go of me. Not a chance. He pulled her toward the mansion, his grip iron-strong but not painful. You're hurting me. I'm barely touching you. Stop being dramatic. Isabella tried to dig her heels in, but he was too strong, too determined. He dragged her through the back entrance, up the stairs, down the hallway, back to her room. He pushed her inside and slammed the door shut behind them. What the hell were you thinking? Damien's voice was low, controlled, but rage simmered beneath the surface. I was thinking I need to get away from you. By climbing down a wall in the middle of the night, you could have died. Better dead than trapped with you. Damien grabbed her shoulders. His eyes blazed in the darkness. You're not just risking your life anymore, Isabella. That baby, my baby, is inside you. Every stupid decision you make affects them too. Tears spilled down Isabella's cheeks. I just want to be free. Free to do what? Starve. Live on the streets. Raise a child in poverty. At least it would be my choice. Your choice. Damien's laugh was bitter. You chose me that night. You chose to carry my child. And now you're choosing to run from the consequences. Because the consequence is you. Silence. Damien's hands dropped from her shoulders. He stepped back, running a hand through his dark hair. When was the last time you ate? He asked quietly. What? Answer the question. When did you last eat? Isabella looked away. I don't know. This morning maybe. Maybe? Damien's jaw clenched. You haven't eaten since yesterday afternoon. I checked with the kitchen staff. So what? So what? His voice rose. You're pregnant, Isabella, you need to eat. Or are you trying to kill our baby? Don't you dare. What else am I supposed to think? You don't eat. You try to escape by climbing walls. You put yourself in danger over and over. His eyes bore into hers. Do you want this baby or not? Isabella's hand instinctively moved to her stomach. Of course I do. Then prove it. Stop acting like a child and start acting like a mother. The words hit like bullets. Isabella sank onto the bed, her whole body shaking with sobs. I'm so tired, she whispered. I'm tired of fighting. Tired of being controlled. Tired of everything. Damien watched her for a long moment. Then he walked to the door and opened it. Bring the food now, he ordered someone outside. He closed the door and turned back to Isabella. You're going to eat, now. I'm not hungry. I don't care. A servant entered with a tray. Soup, bread, fruit, water. Damien took the tray and dismissed the servant with a wave. He sat beside Isabella on the bed. Eat, no. He picked up the spoon, dipped it in the soup, and held it toward her mouth. I'm not a child. Then stop acting like one. Open your mouth. Make me? Damien's eyes flashed. He grabbed her chin with his free hand, forcing her to look at him. Don't test me, Isabella. You won't like what happens. I already don't like what's happening. He moved the spoon to her lips. Open now. Isabella clenched her jaw shut. Damien's thumb pressed against her chin. You have 3 seconds. 1. I won't. 2. His grip tightened slightly. 3. He pressed harder, and Isabella's mouth opened in a gasp. Instantly, he slipped the spoon inside. Warm soup flooded her mouth. She tried to spit it out, but his hand covered her mouth. Swallow. Isabella glared at him through her tears. But the soup was warm, comforting. Her empty stomach ached for it. She swallowed. Good girl. Damien released her and filled the spoon again. Again, I hate you. You've mentioned that open. This time, Isabella opened her mouth without being forced. The soup was good. Too good. She hated that she was hungry. Damien fed her spoonful after spoonful. Silent, patient, his eyes never leaving her face. When the soup was gone, he held up a piece of bread. I can feed myself, Isabella muttered. Then do it. She took the bread and ate. Then the fruit, then drank the water. The whole time, Damien watched. When she finished, he set the tray aside. Better. Isabella didn't answer. Damien stood and walked to the closet. He pulled out something that made Isabella's blood run cold. A chain, long silver, with a padlock. What is that? She whispered. Insurance. No, you can't. I told you. If you tried to run again, I'd have no choice. He walked toward her, the chain in his hands. I meant it. Isabella scrambled backward on the bed. Please don't. Damien stopped. He looked at the chain, then at her terrified face. A long silence. Then he threw the chain on the floor. I'm not going to chain you, Isabella. His voice was tired, defeated. But understand this, if you run again, I will. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you and our baby safe. Even if you hate me for it. He walked to the door. Damien. Isabella's voice was small, broken. He paused. Why do you care so much? About the baby. Damien's hand rested on the doorknob. His shoulders tensed. Because, he said quietly, I was told I could never have children. Something about genetics. About damage. About being broken. Isabella's breath caught. And then you appeared, carrying my child. A miracle I never thought possible. He looked back at her, and for the first time she saw vulnerability in his eyes. So yes, Isabella, I care more than you could ever understand. He left, closing the door softly behind him. Isabella sat in the silence, her hand on her stomach. For the first time since this nightmare began, she saw Damien Carter not as a monster, but as a man. A broken man who'd been given something impossible, hope. And maybe, just maybe, she was starting to understand why he'd never let her go. 3 days passed in strange peace. Isabella stayed in her room, ate when food came, slept, waited. Damien didn't come. She told herself she was relieved. But sometimes, in the quiet moments, she found herself listening for his footsteps. On the 4th morning, Isabella woke with a strange feeling. Wrong, something felt wrong. She sat up slowly. The room spun. No, not again. She tried to stand. Her legs buckled. The floor rushed up to meet her. Help, she whispered. But no sound came out. Darkness swallowed her whole. Sirens, beeping machines, urgent voices, blood pressure dropping. Get the 4 in now. Where's the ultrasound? We need to check the fetus. Isabella tried to open her eyes. Everything was bright. Too bright. Isabella, can you hear me? A woman's voice. A doctor. Isabella managed. Good. Stay with me. You're going to be okay. The baby, is the baby okay? She wanted to ask, but her mouth wouldn't form the words. Something cold pressed against her stomach. The ultrasound wand. Silence then. Oh my God. Isabella's heart stopped. What? She gasped. What's wrong? The doctor's face appeared above her, smiling. Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. The baby. Babies. The doctor corrected gently. You're having twins. The world stopped spinning.
What?
Twins, 2 heartbeats. Both strong, both healthy. Tears flooded Isabella's eyes. 2 babies. 2 babies? Isabella started to laugh. Then cry, then both at once. 2 babies, not 1, 2. A family. A real family. Where's Damien? She asked suddenly. The doctor glanced toward the door. He's been outside since the ambulance arrived, refusing to leave. Should one? Yes, please. The door opened. Damien stepped inside. His face was pale, exhausted, his clothes wrinkled like he hadn't slept. His eyes found Isabella's immediately. You're okay, he breathed. I'm okay. He walked to her bedside, his hands clenched into fists, like he was holding himself back from touching her. The doctor said, his voice cracked. She said twins. Isabella nodded, tears streaming down her face. 2 babies, Damien. We're having 2 babies. Something broke in his expression. He sat heavily in the chair beside her bed and dropped his head into his hands. I thought I'd lost you, both of you, all of you. His shoulders shook. I thought. Isabella's hand moved without thinking. She touched his hair gently. We're okay, she whispered. We're all okay. Damien looked up at her. His eyes were red, raw. I'm sorry, he said hoarsely, for everything. For keeping you prisoner. For the chain. For... Stop. Isabella's voice was soft. Just stop. They sat in silence, her hand still in his hair, his eyes on her face. For the first time, there was no anger between them, just 2 broken people, and the promise of 2 small lives. The drive back to the mansion should have been peaceful, but it wasn't. Isabella stared out the window, her mind racing. 2 babies? Damien's babies. Am I really going to raise them in a mansion? With a mafia boss? Is this the life I want for them? Stop the car, she said suddenly. The driver glanced at Damien in the rearview mirror. Keep driving, Damien ordered. Stop the car, Isabella's voice rose to a shout. No. I need to get out. I can't breathe. I can't. The car stopped at a red light. Isabella didn't think. She just moved. She yanked the door handle and threw herself out of the car. Her feet hit the pavement. She ran. Isabella. Damien's roar echoed behind her. She ran down the sidewalk, pushing through crowds of people. Her heart hammered. Her breath came in gasps. Freedom, just a little more. Just a little. Strong arms wrapped around her waist, lifting her off the ground. No. Let me go. Let me. Damien spun her around. His face was fury and fear mixed together. What the hell is wrong with you? I can't do this. I can't be trapped. I can't. You're carrying twins, Isabella. You could have fallen. You could have hurt them. Maybe that's what you deserve. Maybe I should. The slap came before she could finish. Not from Damien. From reality? He grabbed her face in both hands, forcing her to look at him. Listen to me very carefully, he said, his voice deadly calm. We don't need marriage. We don't need papers or rings or vows. But I'm done watching you run. I'm done worrying you'll kill yourself trying to escape me. Then let me go. Never. His grip tightened. So here's what's going to happen. We're getting married. Right now. Today. Isabella's blood ran cold. What? You heard me. We're getting married. And you're taking my name, and those babies will be legitimate. They'll have protection, a family, everything. You can't force me to marry you." Damien's smile was sharp, cruel. "Watch me." He pulled her back to the car. She fought every step, but he was too strong. "I won't say the vows. I won't sign anything. You will. Because if you don't, I'll make sure you never see those babies again once they're born." Isabella froze. "You wouldn't." "Try me." The coldness in his eyes told her he meant it. Terror flooded her veins, but also rage. "I hate you," she whispered. "I know." He pushed her into the car. "But you'll be my wife anyway." The ceremony was a mockery. A priest, to witnesses. A dark room in the mansion. No flowers, no music, no love. Just fear and anger and desperation. "Do you, Damien Carter, take Isabella?" "I do. And do you, Isabella?" Isabella's mouth stayed closed. Damien's hand found hers under the table. He squeezed hard. The threat was clear. "Say it, or lose everything." "I do," she whispered, the words tasting like poison. The priest smiled, oblivious to the tension. "I now pronounce you husband and wife." Damien turned to her. His eyes were dark, unreadable. "You may kiss the bride," the priest added. Damien leaned in slowly. Isabella's heart raced with panic. His lips brushed her ear instead. "I'm sorry," he whispered, so quiet only she could hear. "But I won't lose you." Then he pressed his lips to hers. The kiss was gentle, achingly gentle. Nothing like the man who'd forced this marriage. Isabella's tears fell silently. When he pulled back, his thumb brushed away one tear. "Welcome to the family, Mrs. Carter," he said softly. And Isabella realized with horror that she was trapped. Not by chains or locked doors, but by law, by marriage, by two tiny lives growing inside her. She was Damien Carter's wife, the Mafia boss's bride, and there was no escape. That night, Isabella lay in the massive bed, alone. Damien had left after the ceremony without a word. She stared at the ceiling, her hand on her stomach. "I'm sorry," she whispered to her babies. "I'm so sorry. I wanted to give you freedom. I wanted to give you a normal life. But nothing about this was normal." The door opened quietly. Damien stepped inside, still wearing his suit from the ceremony. He looked exhausted, haunted. "What do you want?" Isabella asked coldly. He walked to the bed and sat on the edge, close, but not touching. "I want you to understand something," he said quietly. "What?" "That you're a monster who forced me into marriage. That I'm a man who will do anything to protect his family. By taking away my choice. By making sure those babies have a father's name. Protection. A legacy." His eyes met hers. "The world I live in is dangerous, Isabella. Without my name, without my protection, you and the babies would be targets." "Targets for what?" "For my enemies. For people who'd use you to get to me." His voice dropped. "I've made many enemies. And they'd love nothing more than to hurt me by hurting what's mine." Isabella's breath caught. "So this marriage is for protection?" "This marriage is for everything." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand rested on her stomach, on their babies. "I know you hate me," he whispered. "And maybe you always will. But I will protect you. I will protect them, even if it means you never forgive me." Isabella looked at his hand on her stomach, at the ring on her finger that felt like a shackle. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you," she admitted. "I know. But," she swallowed hard, "maybe I can try to understand." Damien's eyes lifted to hers. Surprise flickered across his face. "That's more than I deserve," he said. "Yes, it is." He stood to leave. "Damien." He paused. "Will you?" Isabella's voice trembled. "Will you stay? Just tonight. Not for anything else. Just, I don't want to be alone." The vulnerability in her voice hung between them. Damien nodded slowly. "Okay." He walked around to the other side of the bed and lay down on top of the covers, keeping distance between them. Isabella turned on her side, her back to him, and somehow, despite everything, she felt safer with him there. Her enemy, her captor, her husband, the father of her children. Sleep came slowly, but when it did, Isabella dreamed not of escape, but of tiny hands and soft cries and a future she couldn't quite see yet. A future that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. 2 weeks of marriage. 2 weeks of sharing a bed, but never touching. 2 weeks of learning to live with a stranger who was now her husband. Isabella stood in front of the mirror, her hand on her stomach. The bump was visible now. Small, but undeniable. 2 lives growing inside her. You need to get out of the house, Damien said from the doorway. Isabella jumped. She hadn't heard him approach. What? You've been cooped up for weeks. The doctor said you need fresh air. Exercise. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. We're going to the market. You think I'd let you go alone? Isabella turned to face him. I'm not a child who needs supervision. No, you're my wife who's carrying my children. There's a difference. The word wife still felt strange. Foreign. Fine, Isabella muttered. But I choose what we buy. A ghost of a smile crossed Damien's face. Deal. The market was alive with color and sound. Vendors shouting prices. Children laughing. The smell of fresh bread and flowers filling the air. Isabella breathed it all in. Freedom, even if temporary. Damien walked beside her, close but not touching, wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses. Trying to blend in. A wanted man, pretending to be normal. Look at these. Isabella stopped at a stall selling baby clothes. Tiny onesies, soft blankets. She picked up a yellow outfit, her eyes soft. For one of the twins. Damien reached past her and grabbed 2 identical outfits, one yellow, one green, for both. I can buy my own. He handed money to the vendor before she could finish. Next. Isabella glared at him, but something warm flickered in her chest. He was thinking about both babies, not just one. They moved through the market, buying fruit, vegetables, things for the nursery. For the first time in weeks, Isabella felt almost normal, almost happy. Then she heard the voice. Isabella? Is that really you? Her blood turned to ice. She turned slowly. Marcus, her ex-boyfriend, the third one who'd dumped her. He stood there with a smirk on his face, looking her up and down. Wow, you look. His eyes landed on her visible baby bump. Different. Isabella's hand instinctively moved to her stomach. Protective? Marcus. Hi. Hi, he laughed. That's all you have to say. Last time we talked, you were begging me to stay. Shame burned through her. I wasn't begging. Please, Marcus, don't leave me. I'll change. I'll be better. His voice was mocking, cruel. Sound familiar? Isabella's eyes filled with tears. Just leave me alone. Oh, I will. But first he stepped closer, his eyes on her stomach. Who's the unlucky bastard? Or do you even know? Excuse me? Come on, Isabella. You moved on pretty quick. How many guys did it take before one knocked you up? His smile was vicious. Or are you just sleeping around, trying to trap anyone desperate enough? The punch came out of nowhere. Marcus flew backward, crashing into a fruit stand. Apples scattered across the ground. Damien stood where Marcus had been, his fist still clenched. His face was death itself. What did you say about my wife? The word wife echoed through the suddenly silent market. Marcus looked up, blood streaming from his nose. Your wife? This slut is married to you. Damien's foot connected with Marcus's ribs. Hard. Marcus screamed. Damien, stop. Isabella grabbed his arm. He shook her off and pulled Marcus up by his collar. Say one more word about her. Just one. She's a desperate. Another punch, then another, and another. Blood, so much blood. Damien, please. You're going to kill him. People were gathering now, phones out, recording. Someone call the police. Is that Toe? My God, that's Damien Carter, the Mafia boss. The whispers spread like wildfire. Damien didn't stop. His fists kept connecting with Marcus's face over and over. Damien, Isabella screamed. The police are coming. People are taking pictures. You need to stop. Finally, her words broke through. Damien froze, his fist raised for another blow. He looked around at the crowd, the phones, the fear in everyone's eyes, and then he heard it. Sirens. Shit, he muttered. He dropped Marcus, who collapsed in a bloody heap. Damien grabbed Isabella's hand. We need to go now. But, now, he pulled her through the crowd, People screamed and scattered. There he is. Don't let him escape. Someone stop him. But no one dared. Damien pulled Isabella through a narrow alley. Behind them, police sirens grew louder. I can't run, Isabella gasped. The babies? Damien swept her into his arms without breaking stride. Hold on to me. Isabella wrapped her arms around his neck as he ran. Her heart hammered against her ribs. This was it. They were going to get caught. He'd go to prison. She'd be left alone. Damien, just let me go, she said desperately. Turn yourself in. They won't hurt you if... I'm not leaving you. His voice was steel. Never. But the police? Will have to kill me before I let them take me away from you and our children. The absolute certainty in his voice made her shiver. They burst out of the alley into another street. More sirens. Closer now. A black car screeched to a halt beside them. The door flew open. Boss, get in. One of Damien's men. Damien shoved Isabella inside and climbed in after her. Drive. The car peeled away just as police cars rounded the corner behind them. They're following us, the driver shouted. Lose them. Take the back roads. The car swerved through traffic. Isabella held onto Damien's arm, her eyes wide with terror. This is insane, she whispered. This is my life. He looked at her, his face still splattered with Marcus's blood. Our life now? I didn't ask for this, but you got it anyway. His hand covered hers. And I'm sorry, but I meant what I said. No one talks about you like that. No one. You could have killed him. I should have... Damien. He disrespected you. Called you names. Insulted our children. His eyes were dark, feral. He's lucky he's still breathing. Isabella stared at him. At this man who'd just beaten someone half to death for insulting her. This monster. This protector. This husband. You're insane, she whispered. Yes. He pulled her close as the car took another sharp turn. But you're insane. The sirens began to fade behind them. They'd escaped. For now, but Isabella knew the truth. They couldn't keep running forever. Eventually, the law would catch up, or something worse. Where are we going? She asked quietly. Damien's jaw tightened. Somewhere safe. Somewhere they won't find us. And then what? He looked at her, blood on his knuckles, determination in his eyes. Then we disappear. Isabella's hand moved to her stomach, to the twins growing inside her. For how long? Damien's voice was soft, almost sad. As long as it takes. The car drove on through the city, carrying them away from everything familiar, into the unknown. Together, whether Isabella wanted it or not. But as she looked at Damien's battered hands, still holding hers, she realized something terrifying. A part of her, a small, dark part she didn't want to acknowledge, was glad he'd defended her. Glad he'd hurt the man who'd hurt her. Glad she wasn't alone. What's happening to me? Am I becoming like him? She didn't want to know the answer. So she closed her eyes and leaned against his shoulder, and pretended not to notice when his arm wrapped around her. Protective, possessive, permanent. The way a husband holds his wife. The way a father protects his family. Even if that protection came with blood on his hands, and darkness in his soul. The car drove for hours. City turned to suburbs. Suburbs turned to countryside. Countryside turned to wilderness. Finally, they stopped. This is as far as I can take you, boss, the driver said. Police have checkpoints on all the main roads. You'll have to go on foot from here. Damien nodded. Good work. Get back to the city. Tell no one where we went. Yes, sir. Damien helped Isabella out of the car. Her legs were stiff, her body ached. Where are we? She asked, looking around at the dense forest. Safe. That's all that matters. The car drove away, leaving them alone in the fading light. Damien pulled a backpack from the trunk before the car left. Supplies, she assumed. Can you walk? Isabella looked at the forest path ahead. Dark, overgrown, endless. Do I have a choice? No. She started walking. The forest swallowed them whole. Trees blocked out the dying sun. Branches scratched at their clothes. The path was barely visible. Isabella's feet hurt. Her back ached. The twins felt heavy inside her. But she didn't complain. She just walked. Damien stayed close beside her, one hand on her lower back, steadying her. guiding her. After what felt like forever, they emerged into a small clearing. A cottage stood in the center, old, broken, half the roof missing, windows cracked or gone entirely. "This is it?" Isabella asked, her heart sinking. "It's shelter. That's enough." Thunder rumbled in the distance. They hurried inside just as the first drops of rain began to fall. The cottage was worse inside than out. Dust everywhere, cobwebs in the corners, a broken table, a fireplace that probably didn't work. But there was a bed frame with a surprisingly intact mattress. "At least there's that," Damien muttered. The rain began to pound on what was left of the roof. Damien pulled out his phone. His face darkened. "What?" Isabella asked. "No signal," he tried again. "Nothing, damn it." "What about your men?" "I can't reach them. We're completely cut off." He shoved the phone in his pocket. "We're on our own." Thunder cracked overhead. The storm was getting worse. Isabella sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline from the market, the escape, the long walk. It all crashed down on her at once. The room spun. "Isabella." Damien's voice sounded far away. I don't feel good." Her vision blurred. The world tilted. Strong arms caught her before she fell. "Isabella, stay with me." She tried to focus on his face, on his voice. But darkness pulled at her. "The babies," she whispered. "Are the babies?" "They're fine, you're fine. Just breathe." Damien laid her gently on the mattress. His hands moved to her forehead, her neck, checking for fever. "You're dehydrated, exhausted." He dug through the backpack. "I have water here." He lifted her head and pressed a bottle to her lips. "Drink, slowly." Isabella drank. The water was cool, life-giving. "More," Damien urged. "You need more." She drank until the bottle was half empty. "Better?" Isabella nodded weakly. I'm so sorry. I'm slowing you down." "Stop." His voice was firm. "You're pregnant with twins. You've been through hell today. You have nothing to apologize for." Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. "This is all my fault. If I hadn't wanted to go to the market, then that bastard would have insulted you another day, another time." Damien's jaw clenched. "I would have found him eventually. You almost killed him." "I should have." "Damien." "He called you a slut, Isabella. He implied you were sleeping around. He disrespected you in front of everyone." His eyes burned. "No one does that to my wife." That word again, wife. It still felt unreal. "I was his girlfriend once," Isabella said quietly. "He has a right to be angry. He has no rights when it comes to you." "Not anymore." Damien's hand covered hers. "You're mine now, and I protect what's mine." The possessiveness in his tone should have scared her. Instead, it made her feel safe. Thunder boomed overhead. Rain poured through the holes in the roof. Damien stood and surveyed the cottage. "We need to block those holes. You'll freeze." He found old boards and began covering the worst gaps. Moving furniture, creating a shelter within the shelter. Isabella watched him work. This dangerous man, this killer, this husband, taking care of her. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. He paused, a board in his hands. "Doing what?" "All of this, risking everything. Running from the police, hiding in the woods." Her voice cracked. "You could have left me, sent me away somewhere safe, lived your life without all this trouble." Damien set down the board and walked to her. He knelt beside the bed, his eyes level with hers. "Do you really not know?" Isabella shook her head. He took her hand and placed it on her stomach. His hand covered hers. "These babies are everything I never thought I could have. A family, a future, a reason to be something more than a monster." His voice was raw, honest. "And you?" He looked up at her. "You gave me that. You're carrying them, growing them, keeping them safe inside you." Isabella's breath caught. "How could I leave you?" Damien whispered. "How could I abandon the woman who gave me hope?" Tears streamed down Isabella's face. "But I didn't mean to. I didn't choose you because I loved you. I chose you because I was desperate and broken and—" "I know." He smiled sadly. "You chose a stranger on a bench. A man who looked as dead inside as you felt." "Yes. And somehow, that stranger became the father of your children." His thumb brushed across her knuckles. "Fate is strange, isn't it? I don't believe in fate. Neither did I, his eyes held hers. Until you. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, something shifted. Isabella looked at this. Men really looked at him. Blood under his fingernails from beady marks, dirt on his clothes from the forest. Exhaustion in his eyes. But also, tenderness. He'd carried her when she couldn't walk. Given her water when she was weak. Protected her when the world turned against them. I'm scared, Isabella admitted. Of me? Of this, of feeling. She couldn't finish the sentence. But Damien understood. Of feeling something for me. She nodded, ashamed. Don't be scared. His hand moved to her face, cupping her cheek. I'm scared too. You? You're not scared of anything. I'm terrified of losing you. Of losing them. His voice broke. I'm terrified that one day you'll look at me and only see the monster. Not the man who loves you. Isabella's heart stopped. What? Damien's eyes were honest, vulnerable, completely unguarded. I love you, Isabella. I know I have no right to. I know I forced you into this marriage, into this life. But somewhere between that stormy night and now, I fell in love with my wife. Isabella couldn't breathe, couldn't think. You don't have to say it back, Damien continued. You don't have to feel anything for me. But I needed you to know. In case something happens. In case we don't make it out of this. Don't say that. It's the truth. The police are looking for me. My enemies are circling. We're fugitives now. He smiled bitterly. Not exactly the fairy tale you dreamed of. I stopped believing in fairy tales a long time ago. Then believe in this. He pulled her hand to his chest. His heart beat strong beneath her palm. I will die before I let anyone hurt you or our children. That's a promise. Thunder crashed. The storm intensified. Isabella felt something break inside her. A wall she'd built. A defense she'd maintained. Damien, she whispered. Yes, I don't love you. Not yet, maybe not ever. Pain flickered across his face, but he nodded. I understand. But, she touched his face, her fingers tracing his jaw. I think I could, someday, if you keep looking at me like that. Hope bloomed in his eyes. Like what? Like I'm not broken. Like I'm worth something. Like I'm. She swallowed hard. Like I'm loved. Damien's hand covered hers on his face. You are loved. More than you know. Then prove it. Help. Isabella pulled him closer. Stay with me tonight. Hold me. Keep the darkness away. Always. Damien breathed. He climbed onto the bed beside her, fully clothed, and pulled her into his arms. Isabella rested her head on his chest. His heartbeat steady beneath her ear. The storm raged outside, but inside, wrapped in his arms, Isabella felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not happiness, not quite love, but the beginning of it. The possibility of it. Damien, she murmured, half asleep. Yes. Thank you. For defending me today. Even though it was stupid and dangerous. His arms tightened around her. I'd do it again. 1,000 times. I know. She smiled against his chest. That's what scares me. What? That I'm starting to like that you would. Damien pressed a kiss to the top of her head. Then maybe there's hope for us after all. Isabella closed her eyes, listening to the rain in his heartbeat, to broken people, to unborn babies. One impossible love story, and somewhere in the storm, Isabella finally let herself believe. Maybe, just maybe, they could survive this. Together?